Just like the billboard paintings performed in Pakistan, there is another indigenous form of art performed in Pakistan, and it is the truck art. With its all colorful floral patterns, depiction of human heroes with creative aspects, ratios, calligraphy of poetic verse, and drivers' words of wisdom. This form of art is truly a part of Pakistani transport tradition. Many trucks and buses in Pakistan are highly customized and decorated by their owners. These adjourned vehicles are considered as moving art or jingle art. Because of their unique decor style, these vehicles are quite distinct in layers from other trucks around the world. Each part of the vehicle is decorated differently, with variations depending on the regional style. In Pakistan, a truck driver owner usually pays $3,000 to $5,000 for their vehicle's external decoration. The art embellishes such trucks according to the particular tastes of the driver. Nearly every city in Pakistan has a unique decor. The Balochistan and Peshawari trucks are heavily trimmed with wood. Rawalpindi and Islamabad trucks have permanently featured plastic work. Camel-borne ornamentation is commonly seen in trucks decorated by Sindh artists. These trucks are also representative of different local, historical, and cultural regions of Pakistan. Thus, these trucks are also representative of different historical and cultural regions of Pakistan, the enchanting arts and crafts of Pakistan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very warm welcome to PTV World News. I'm Shahzad Qayyum with the top stories of this hour. Prime Minister Imran Khan launches Billion Tree Honey Project. Prime Minister says the project will benefit the local population. Prime Minister Imran Khan says Parliament is a highly important constitutional body for continuity of democracy. Prime Minister calls upon the political parties to ensure sanctity of Parliament and uphold democratic values. Shah Mahmood Qureshi says Pakistan will not recognize Israel unless the just solution of Palestine conflict. The foreign minister also makes it clear that India should give up its wishful thinking that it could replace Pakistan as a reliable partner of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. Chinese Ambassador Nong Rong calls on Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa. Issues pertaining to defense cooperation, regional security and CPAC were discussed in the meeting. Chief Minister of Punjab Usman Buzar tested positive for the coronavirus. Chief Minister's focal person for digital media Azhar Mashwani says Buzar will continue to perform his official work from home. Saudi Arabia suspends all international flights for a week, extendable for another amid mounting concern over a new strain of coronavirus. Two of the biggest planets of the solar system, Jupiter and Saturn, will form the Great Conjunction in the sky tonight. The rare astronomic event occurs after almost 400 years. The third and final T20 international between Pakistan and New Zealand will be played tomorrow in the Napier. The New Zealand beat Pakistan by 9 wickets in the second T20 international at the Seddon Park in Hamilton to seal the three-match series. BTV Sports telecast the match live. So that's all for the moment. For more details and live streaming, log on to our website world.ptv.com.pk. You can find us on Facebook page with the name of PTV World and follow us on Twitter at WorldPTV. Thanks a lot for watching, and it's goodbye for now.
Truck art from Pakistan is renowned to the world for its attraction and unique sense of artistic taste. Pakistani truck art is Pakistan's cultural identity. One look at a truck with artistic work over it, and the first thing which would come to your mind would be Pakistan.
I've been driving truck for the last 5 years. Not only it's my interest and passion, but also is a source of income for my family and I.
We open up the whole body of a truck and piece it down to various parts to get the painting process smoother. Base frame of the truck gets painted first. Then we move on to the rest of the body where we prepare the whole base structure. Once the foundation is all checked, it is sent to the painter, and then after it gets painted, it's further sent to the decoration department. It takes around 2 months to get the procedure completed.
Trucks in Pakistan are decorated with the slogans and pictures all over their bodies from local folklore that gives them a Pakistani look. These slogans are the fortune cookies of Pakistan. After reading them, you have something to ponder over your own life and sometimes about the life around you.
I started working on truck art since 1980s and continued doing it till now. There's a lot of work involved in painting a truck. We start with basic coloring of the blank surface. It takes at least 2 to 4 days on painting a truck. Everything that includes flowery art and bird designs is taken into consideration. We also invest in scenic beauties like Kashmir, Sawat, Khyber, Shahi Mosque Lahore, and anything that comes off beautiful to the general public.
A humorous slogan will redirect the seriousness in your life. A political slogan will make you think of the political landscape in Pakistan. And the poems of Pakistani poets make you contemplate over everything in general.
I've been working as a truck artist for 50 years. I entered this industry in 1968. We start painting a truck once it's all in its functioning state. My trade is calligraphy and paint. I have painted around 1,000 trucks since 1968.
The beautiful and artsy looks of these trucks continue to arrest the attention of any and all bystanders. If you see a truck, chances are that you can spot a decorated crown and garish portraits of flowers, celebrities, Islamic art, snowy Himalayan peaks, animals, amusing poetry, and much more.
I work hard to bring out the best project. This is a proud moment for Pakistan as well.
Sufi saints, spiritual vagabonds, the flying horse, the eagles, the peacock, the falcon, and imagined scenes of paradise are painted side by side popular political figures, military heroes, famous cricketers, showbiz personalities, F-16 jets and missiles.
The light bulbs are used for decorations and beautification of the truck. During the journey at night, they provide an exuberant view to the bystanders.
Truck art has continued to evolve, now more than ever. It continues to incorporate and fuse modern aesthetic elements and imagery with traditional, spiritual and folk ones.
There are several practical measures you can take to protect yourself from the new coronavirus. One of the most important is regular, safe and effective hand hygiene, using soap and water or alcohol-based hand rub. Here are the steps recommended by WHO to follow. You too can have safe and clean hands anywhere. Now I'm calling on the world to take the WHO Safe Hands Challenge to be ready for coronavirus.
Hello and welcome to Politics Today. I'm Farrukh Petafi. Today, once again, we are going to talk about domestic politics, particularly the kind of exchanges of harsh words we keep on seeing every day. Mercifully, despite the coronavirus wave, we knew that there were protests that were going on. The public rallies of opposition, they have stopped. Perhaps because the last rally that they held in Lahore was not that much successful, or perhaps that was the end of their phase one. So that is one aspect that is encouraging. Because of that, perhaps we have seen that coronavirus positivity rate is coming down. That is one aspect. But the second aspect is about Senate elections. We know that they were to take place in March. Then we heard that the government is planning to prepone it. Today we heard the Election Commission of Pakistan that it cannot be held before 10th of February. And then we were told that the due date will be announced in due course. That is again very interesting. Then we also heard that the government of Pakistan is going to go to the Honorable Supreme Court for the interpretation of two things. One, of course, is the schedule. The second aspect is the voting method. The Electoral College of the Senate is quite different from the other bodies. It is not unicameral, it is more than bicameral, and it is federal, truly federal in the sense of the word. So what exactly prompted the government to go for it? Why go for the show of hands rather than the secret ballot that has been customary? This is again very important. And of course, then there is the talk of talks between the government and opposition. On one side, government also has shown some flexibility, indicating that minus the talk about discussion about NAB or NRO, they are ready to talk to the opposition. And then we heard Bilawal Bhutto Zardari once again reiterating that he is not going to talk to anybody, and he has claimed that the time for such talks is past. Cannot happen again. Khurshid Shah, the former opposition leader in the National Assembly, hailing from his own party, Bilawal Bhutto's party, actually has given a different message, and he says that the government should be actually reaching out to the opposition, and the time for dialogue is not past. We are going to talk about all these matters, and we will try to understand the nitty-gritties of the Senate election process as well. In order to help us understand these issues, we are joined by Barrister Umar Malik, a legal expert on constitutional affairs as well. Barrister Sahab, thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Naseem Siddiqui Sahab joins us, a senior journalist and analyst. Thank you very much, Naseem Siddiqui Sahab, for being part of the program. On Skype, we are joined by Abdul Samad Yaqoob Sahab, who is the leader of Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. Thank you very much, Abdul Samad, for being part of the program as well. Rana Ehsan Afzal Khan joins us on Skype as well, representing Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. Rana Sahab, thank you very much for being part of the program as well. Let me start with you, Barrister Malik. Let me ask you, why do you think the government had to actually go to the Supreme Court? And why do you think is a legal need for interpretation by the Supreme Court?
I think if we read the Constitution, I don't know why the government has announced about the show of hands, and of course, and the other thing which they have said that Senate elections shall be held earlier than the due date. The Constitution is very clear about it. Article 218 says that the Election Commission, only the Election Commission is empowered to conduct the elections of the National Assembly, the Provincial Assemblies, and the both houses of the National Assembly.
Right.
So now the other thing which is Article 226 of the Constitution, it says that
that all the elections under the constitution, other than the Prime Minister and the Chief Minister, shall be held through secret ballot.
Okay.
So it is very clear under Article 226 that it has to be held through secret ballot. I don't know why it was announced that show of hands, and then now they are saying that they might be going to the Supreme Court for interpretation of this thing. I think 226 is very much clear about the. And then another important thing is Article 224, subsection 3 of the Constitution of Pakistan. It says that the elections shall be held not earlier than 30 days. It says not earlier than 30 days of the retirement of the Senate members. So Senate members are retiring on 11th of March, and now even today I think the Election Commission has also announced that they will be holding elections after 10th of February. So before 30 days the elections of the Senate cannot be held. It is very much clear in this. But since the government has announced it, and maybe I think the Prime Minister has announced it, I think that is why they are going to the Supreme Court, maybe for some time.
But what prompted the government? Let me bring in Naseem Siddiqui sir very quickly, your take on this. Why do you think the government felt the need to approach Honorable Supreme Court?
Actually, they want that Supreme Court should decide whatever is said in the
it is Supreme Court job.
It is.
But why do you think they felt the need to prepone the elections?
Because they felt, because if they announce each and everything and opposition goes to the Supreme Court, then that would be a bad thing for them. So they are going beforehand so they can get the guidelines from Supreme Court. So if Supreme Court decides something, then the opposition has to.
I get that. My concern is that in this election, it is the government or the ruling party which is going to get the land share. So they are in a situation to have a win-win situation, right? That is the scenario. Why actually try to bring it back? And secondly, I mean, we have seen Senate elections in which the opposition tried to, despite having the numbers, to remove the chairman Senate, and they could not do it. This time, this wind is blowing in government's direction. So why actually shift anything at all?
Farooq, there are two things. That opposition is moving towards resignations. So that was a move from opposition. So just to condemn that one, they have given a move that they will be doing the elections earlier. So they can bring the opposition into panic. So opposition has to decide. They have to give the resignations in January, or if they want to come to Islamabad.
The opposition says that all the political parties are going to, or their members are going to submit their resignations to their leaders by the 31st of December.
But you know that all these resignations should reach to the Speaker, and each and every member of Provincial Assembly or National Assembly, he has to appear before the Speaker.
A week?
Let's see that how many people turn up at that time. I don't think so that everybody from who has given resignations to the...
So you're making my point. Then why even budge? You are winning already. Why do you need to move anything at all?
But for show of hands, they want that there should be clarity in the election and there should be no horse trading. Because last time you have seen that KPK assembly members, they went for somebody, they voted for somebody else and they were expelled from PTI.
My concern, and let me talk to PTI as a representation also, my concern is that in a single, chamber-related elections, show of hand is not difficult. It can be done. But here we are talking about many moving parts, right? They are, you are not actually showing your hands. Actually, you have to fill a list of your priorities. So it becomes very difficult. That means that you'll have to actually show your parchi to everybody what you are voting for, right? That doesn't sound feasible. Let me bring in Abdul Samad Yaqub Sahab. Your take, Abdul Samad Sahab, on this issue. Please explain to us, why did the government feel the need to go for it? So far, the record is that every election has gone in your favor. So why worry about it at all?
The dynamics of the Senate election is a bit different. I mean, Barrister Saab has already made it clear that there cannot be done a show and election voting cannot be done, because for that we need to go for the amendment. And everyone knows in Pakistan elections, mostly the candidates hold their votes which we used to, raise the voice on the PTI platform. Even the chairman PTI, Imran Khan, when he was in opposition, he used to raise the voice that he wanted this to be conducted by the showing hand or to avoid the secret balloting. So it was over long stands, and then even from PMLN, they shows that they also are in the favor of against the secret balloting, but nothing has been done yet.
Right. But you'll have to help me understand how this works, because I understand that whenever you are voting for a seat for Senate, there is a list of priorities. First priority, second priority, third priority. In that you actually fill in names of people that you think should be your first priority, then second or third. Show of hands doesn't work like that. It is a singular message, yes or no. So how do you actually work it out?
Exactly, you are right that if we are going to make it on a practical ground, showing hand cannot be done by prioritizing these perchi. You write the name first priority candidate, second one, and third one. And for that, definitely we need something else, or something which avoid the secret balloting. There should be any other measure should be taken to avoid that. Doesn't mean that only showing hand, but any other measure which can avoid the secret balloting.
Okay. So it can be like you can vote on a ballot, but that ballot then is made public.
Yes, I can say that constitutional experts can better elaborate it.
Yeah, we have an expert here, and we were just informed that as per the constitutional provisions, it has to be a secret ballot. But let me bring in Rana Saab also. Rana Saab, why does the government feel that you are going to throw a lot of money into the election and you are going to try to bribe their MPAs or their MNAs to actually vote for you?
Well, I think the government they're in trouble and they have to bring the election before when it is due. So that is one thing which is certain. And the government feels troubled. That is why it is, it announced beforehand that it's going to hold the elections earlier. And obviously it means that, something, the PDM Tehreek is going strong, which has made the government announce the new election schedule. And it is amply clear by ECP's announcement today that, conducting the elections is the constitutional and the legal responsibility of the ECP under the Election Commission Act. So the government announcing earlier elections and changing the methodology of the election shows that they are going beyond their mandate. That is number one.
Okay. Since you began with number one, I am assuming that you are going to continue with other numbers as well. But before that, let me ask you, does it mean, if you think that the government is worried or perturbed because of PDM, does that mean PDM is going to take part in the Senate elections?
I think, the reason why we're collecting the resignations beforehand and, submitting it to our party heads is that we might put those resignations to the Speaker of the Houses before these elections and not participate in the election. But the exact situation of whether PDM will be participating in the elections or not has to be decided by PDM and announced. So I think a specific...
Right.
Yes.
Why are you actually dilly-dallying on this decision? It should be a straightforward decision whether you're going to resign or not.
Well, I think up till now, our preparations are, so we made this exercise happen beforehand. So in case we want to submit our resignations to the Speaker of the Assembly, we can do it now in one day. So now there won't be any delay, as all the parties have collected almost 90 to 100% of the resignations of their party members. Now we can complete this process of resigning within one day. and submitting these resignations
right.
to the speakers of
that I understand. But if you want to resign, I mean, within months, nothing is going to change. The government is going to be government, you are going to be opposition. Whether you resign or not is up to you. And the fact that you are delaying the decision actually implies that there is some pushback from within your party.
No, you know, we have announced a fixed schedule. We have announced that we are going to go for street protests. We might even go for a dharna. So, according to that, we are giving time to the government to resign on its own and make things easier for itself and for the country. So, we have given an ultimatum and a timeline. So, we are doing things step by step, and we are doing things by consensus within the PDM and the 11 parties.
Yeah, and is there a reason why there isn't any consensus so far?
No, there is consensus. We've already announced the date of
right.
submitting
I'm going to
resignations
come back to you, sir. Allow me to go to other participants as well. Barrister Saab, you have listened to the explanations. I am still not clear. Why actually go for this schedule? Why actually go for show of hands? Is there an implication that there is a possibility of MNAs actually defecting, MPAs defecting? Why would that be?
Like I think if we look at the Senate elections which were held before, and that was 2000. It was I think it was 2013, and in KPK, the Imran Khan had to expel some of the party members, and their memberships, their basic memberships, were also those were suspended. More than 30 MPAs. So the problem here is that, of course, we all know that there are some people who by their own their money, they come and they show money and they spend money and they win these elections in the Senate. So it is very, it is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Before we move any forward or any further, tell me, if I am trying to buy a ticket, Senate ticket, is there any legal punishment for me?
Well, I think there is, like, if first of all, if an MPA is violating the party discipline, that he can be disqualified if he is not.
Disqualified is one thing, but is it a crime or not?
It is a crime. Bribing.
So, is there any PPC, CRPC, sections applicable here?
Yes, of course, the penal code is applicable, and all these laws are applicable. The criminal laws are applicable. Criminal laws are applicable if somebody does this thing. But here the problem right now which we are facing is that unless the 226 article is amended of the Constitution, this is not possible to hold the elections, Senate elections, by show of hands. So for amending the Constitution, 2/3 majority is required. It is not possible without
an ordinance.
Not through ordinance, the basic structure of the Constitution or any section of the Constitution cannot be amended.
You're talking about basic structure here?
Yes, exactly. Article 226 is very clear. If we amend this, this is about amending the Constitution. So if we amend the Constitution, 2/3 majority is required. By way of ordinance, this cannot be amended. This 226 cannot be amended.
Right. And
that is why they
go to the
Supreme Court.
Exactly. Now, another very important aspect. In 2018, there was no show of hands.
Yes.
How did PTI learn that these 30 candidates, 30 MPAs actually have not voted for them?
Well, I think all the political leaders, it is very obvious that they know the people they bring in, the way they bring them in, the way they for their money or whatever their gains are. Even the party leaders, they know what somebody is doing. So
why need show of hands?
Well,
if you already know it.
Well, I think this is recently what has already happened to the opposition as well. 14 members.
No.
That is also the case here. The people who are in the parties, just because of their money, they just don't vote for the parties.
The problem with opposition in 2018 was that it was failing to win over the hearts and minds of lawmakers, and at that time everybody thought that there is a public outrage against the opposition. That's why there was no penalty for anybody who actually voted for other side from the opposition. But Naseem Siddiqui Saab, I mean, the entire situation is before you. If you know that your 30 MPAs defected and then you punish them, then you don't need show of hands at all. because you already have the kind of insight to understand who is doing what.
Actually, when they were punished, those who defected, the elections was done, the damage was done. So this time they want that there should be no damage. So that's why they are making it clear that the loyalties of the party members should be crystal clear by showing hand. They have to be, the loyalty have to be with the party, as we have seen in the Chairman Senate election. Those who raised hand and after the votes come out of the box, that was totally different. So to stop these things, to stop horse trading, they are going for the show of hands. But you raised a very good question, that how they will, this is not a chairman's election, that you just raise your hand and they will count it. No, there are priorities and there are groupings as well, that you need to vote to this person, you need to vote
you have to vote for this seat or that seat.
That is decided within the party, that this group is going to vote to him, this is going to vote to him. So how would they manage? By raising their hands, by giving the priorities. So that's a question, and I think that's why they are going to the Supreme Court, that they will get the proper directions from there, because as my learned colleague said, that is the basic of the Constitution. That could not be changed without so they are going for the interpretation, and Supreme Court
in the previous election, when there was a party discipline violation, was there any serious repercussion for the lawmakers in the assembly? Did they lose their seats?
Definitely they lose their seats because of the defecting of a few of the MPs from KPK. So when you have decided something, when the party has decided something and the party members are going against it, definitely you are losing whatever you want. The leader of the party wants to make the proper people in the Senate. So that makes a lot of difference. So that's why they are going to the Supreme Court. If Supreme Court allows, or some ordinance came after the interpretation of Supreme Court, and then they will decide that how they will conduct the Senate election by raising the hand.
I am not the one to prejudge any decision by the Honorable Court, right? But the case that Barrister Saab has just laid out in front of you, giving specific examples of flaws, right? Do you honestly think that there is any scope to be entertained here? I mean, you're talking about amendment or no amendment. And the Honorable Court can interpret the law, it cannot amend the law for you.
I go with the suggestions given by the Barrister Saab that they can go for early elections, like 30 days, within 30 days, they can come back, like they can do it on 11th of February or 12th of February. But for showing of hands, it looks very difficult. If it's in the basics of the Constitution, then definitely Supreme Court will say that you can read it, and it's very crystal clear that you cannot go for the show of hands. So one thing, they can go for early elections, and they might not go for the show of hands.
Judicial review is there, but that is essentially for anything that is not established already. I mean, these laws, or all this entire Constitution has existed for years, right?
Or Supreme Court can say that you can go to the Assembly and you can change the Constitution. Article that one which needs a 2/3 majority, that would be very difficult for the government.
Right. Abdul Samad Yaqub Saab, why do you think that the government even actually is contemplating this? This seems to be a very clear case where the solution lies not with the Supreme Court, even though the honorable courts have great power in this country, but this is actually a domain of the Parliament. So why not go to the Parliament instead of going to the Supreme Court?
Well, we are reaching to the Supreme Court for the interpretation, where I personally feel that it is not required. I mean, when the article is very clear. And secondly, I would like to correct those 17 members of PTI from KPK Assembly. They were suspected by the party that they betrayed the party candidates, and they have voted for the other candidates. The inquiry was conducted by the party internally, and they were not sent, and they were not tried in any court, and nothing was proven that they have done this act by for the money or for the bribe, or there could be some other reasons. They were expelled from the party, but as far as I remember, I think they were not disqualified till the end of the tenure of that assembly, because for that you have to go to trial them or to send the reference in the election commission. I don't think they were disqualified. They remained the members, but that was the internal inquiry. And for the Supreme Court, naturally, that is a counter strategy. I mean, they need to seek perhaps they think that we can get any decision which is in favor of PTI.
Right. Going back to the 17, thank you very much for correcting the number earlier. We were spitballing somewhere around 30, but thank you very much for actually correcting that. At that time, we are talking about Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Assembly, right? So Khyber Pakhtunkhwa was being ruled by a party. The current National Assembly Speaker was the Provincial Assembly Speaker back then. Even then, if they were not disqualified, does it imply that your party didn't push for it?
No, they have, as far as I remember, I think they have sent the reference to the election commission to disqualify them. But at that time, the tenure was at the end of the tenure. I mean, after that, the whole assembly was. I mean, they have.
Samad sir, don't you think that this is an issue? This issue of loyalty and reliability is something that should be dealt within the party rather than actually taking it to any court or actually changing the entire system of election in the parliament.
This is the main issue. I mean, when someone voted secretly, I mean, you cannot see the secret balloting. I mean, once it is posted, you have seen some pictures.
That's true. Later. But here's the thing. The person who is actually voting at that time hails from your party, won because of your party, and still is part of your party. So is loyalty an issue that shouldn't be taken care of within the party itself beforehand, rather than actually putting the entire parliament through this new system, which might actually complicate everything?
I mean, when the candidate is in the parliament, I mean, in the provincial assembly, even before normally what is being practiced is they on some forum and they take the oath on Quran to assure the loyalty, but later when the election result came out, it happens. I mean, it's political culture, not just in PTI. It's everywhere. I mean, you have seen the Senate when there was a no confidence move. You have seen the result of the failure of the no confidence move. The opposition parties who went for the no confidence move also was failed. For some reasons, I mean, I don't know whether the votes were sold or whether...
One of the reasons was that the deputy chairman of the Senate actually belongs to an opposition party, and there is some kind of equation there. But let me actually go back to Rana Sahab. Rana Sahab, you're listening to this argument. Your party has faced this kind of concern repeatedly. Is it not important for your party to actually, in the spirit of what led you to a Charter of Democracy and ARD, right now you're PDM, but in the spirit of democracy, shouldn't you be cooperating with the government to ensure that there is more transparency in the electoral process? Because it has backfired repeatedly for your party.
In the spirit of democracy, sadly, this polarizing personality of Imran Khan, they have decided to go not to the parliament, not to the parliament committees, but to the Supreme Court. This shows how democratic the norms are of this government. And this shows...
Hang on. Democracy also includes independent judiciary. So, going to the Supreme Court is not something which is morally wrong.
No, the elections and how elections are to be held, and if there are to be any amendments, It is the job of the parliament, and it is the job of the election commission. But you know, as democratic as this government is, it has announced the schedule without consulting the ECP, and now the ECP has to give clarification. And now they want to go to the Supreme Court for what? What are they going to? The Supreme Court is not a legislative body. It is not a body which amends. It only interprets. And I think, you know, the interpretation is not so hard that you have to go to the Supreme Court for getting clarity. So it shows how democratic this government is and how polarizing the personality of our Prime Minister is, that he is.
Regardless, because you have been on the receiving end of the same secret ballot system, is it not in your interest to ensure that it is no more secret? So, if you actually declare it independently of the government will have to work with you and amend the law accordingly.
You know, if you want election reforms or if you want to amend something, you need to talk to the opposition, not 1 month or 2 months before the election. You had 2.5 years to discuss these issues, but you did not. And now you feel that you need...
Rana Sahab, let me ask you a hypothetical. If your party and the PDM doesn't resign from the parliament, and if these elections take place and there is secret ballot, who do you think is more likely to defect? The government MPAs and MNAs or your MPAs and MNAs?
You know, it seems that the government MPAs and MNAs are more likely to defect, driving Imran Khan to decide that they should do it by showing of hands. But
well, history doesn't support that perception, by the way.
No,
it has been your party members who have been defecting of late.
No, but Patasi Sahab, this decision of how they're going to be voted has to come through Parliament. And you know, the government, just 2 months before they feel that they need to make these reforms, you know, this is what shows the intention of this government. So they're not serious about it. They're only
my concern, Rana Sahab, is that it usually doesn't happen that you are getting a concession, and in the shape that you are getting the concession, it feels that you are actually obliging someone. And this seems to be the case for you, where your party can be rest assured that its MPAs or MNAs will not defect either. So it was a kind of Christmas present if you don't want to have it.
Suggested as well for the show of hands in the past. They also suggested.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's nothing new.
Who has
PMLN suggested for the show of hands in the past as well.
Yeah, for the chairman election, right?
No, for the Senate election.
That can't happen.
But
I mean, you need 3 priorities and you have only 2 hands.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
One by one.
Sir?
Patasi Sahab, our priority is that this government resigns before the Senate election.
About that also, let me ask you another very important thing. I mean, for 5 years, when you were in power, the argument was that democracy, in whatever shape it is, should be respected and the parliament should complete its 5 years tenure. I mean, before that, People's Party's time, that was the argument. Why do you think you have to change that argument now when you are not in power?
Because this is a selected government which is in power, non-democratic.
That was an accusation against your government as well.
Well, this government has failed to deliver on all fronts and it is weakening this
country. That was allegation against your government as well.
Absolutely.
You realize in Pakistan, main things are not changing, right? Faces keep on changing.
Every election in Pakistan, that was big.
Either a party wins or then there is Dhandli. I mean, this has been happening, so why not actually correct the entire direction by tolerating the government for 5 years?
I would like to comment here that if it was my own decision, I would give them these 5 years to expose them. But as it is PDM's decision, we stand by it and we are supporting it.
Okay, so PDM is not a democracy, it is a dictatorship and you have to...
No, it is majority decision. It is the majority decision.
Headed by a person who is not elected.
Okay, I have to now talk about the scope of dialogue. Let me ask you, Barrister Saab, this is a big concern. Repeatedly we have heard. First, Raza Rabbani Saab used to say that there should be a national dialogue. Then we heard the former Chief Justice as well, that there should be a national dialogue. Then we started hearing these voices from various people right now as well. What is the forum to hold that kind of national dialogue?
I think the biggest forum to hold these dialogues is the Parliament. Even like if we talk about the election reforms.
Let me ask you to clarify. You realize that when everybody is talking about national dialogue, you have to address the elephant in the room as well. You have to talk about the army and the intelligence agencies. Do you think that Parliament is a body where army and intelligence agencies can also be, and Supreme Court can also be part of a dialogue?
Well, I think even in recent past we have seen that they have given briefings to the Parliament regarding many issues.
That is a different thing.
Yeah,
You're talking about dialogue.
Talking about dialogue,
like
I think
4 of you are sitting and you're talking. This is a dialogue. Like
forum,
equals.
The forum could be any forum, but you know the most important thing is about the dialogue. Like whatever it is, but all the stakeholders should be on board. And the people you talk about, like the military, the army, all these allegations which are being leveled against the biggest institutions, I think those should also be addressed. And
Parliament cannot be the body where it happens.
No, it can be. It can.
I mean, like if I'm someone in uniform, will you want me to actually sit in a kind of big hall debating institutional concerns about how democracy should be conducted?
Farooq Sahab, I think the main if we do not consider, like I think I've seen the institutions who do not consider the Parliament as the proper forum to address their grievances and all that, we can, even for the people of Pakistan, they should even be able to sit on the Apara Chowk. You know, Apara main junction. They should be.
These are rhetorical arguments. I respect them, but my concern is that if you're talking about something this ethereal, this big, right? You're redefining the entire social contract.
Yes.
There has to be a forum.
The forum is provided in the constitution, which is the Parliament. The Parliament.
In Parliament, you cannot elect a uniformed person.
It's not about electing. We can amend the constitution and even
elect them.
And not elect them. I mean, if they all decide that the uniform people should be allowed to even contest the election, I think that can also be done through amendment in the constitution. Right. So no. Let's go on this side. Okay. The only thing which we have now is the constitution
the door to hell is paved with best intentions. Right? Don't even talk about this idea that somebody uniformed should be elected.
No, we're not. But you gave an example.
Let go of your uniform. No, this is what I'm saying. We keep on talking about grand ideas and then we don't have the forums. Samad Sahab, you want to come in?
Interestingly, the PDM is led by the same Fazlur Rahman who was the opposition leader, and then with the Musharraf who has done the LFO and that got him elected in the uniform. I mean, now we are expecting this kind of leader who at any level can make a deal with the government or seeking for their personal gains. I mean, and they trusting the wrong person. I mean, I would suggest Ehsan Afzal that you shouldn't try those who has, you should be aware of it.
Okay. But are you, in personal capacity, Samad Sahab, are you for dialogue or not?
I mean, in personal capacity, I'm in favor of dialogue. Okay. But those dialogues which was done
shouldn't be a but when you have already said that you are in favor of it, I'm told that we have dearth of time. Rana Sahab, are you in favor of dialogue or confrontation only?
You see, we feel that now it is too late to have a dialogue with a party which has been, not been able to.
The question is your personal capacity and you are responding in we. So I have to once again ask you, what is your personal opinion, sir?
Of course, I mean, it would have been much better if this government was capable enough to hold dialogues with the opposition in a sane manner without throwing mud, and that would have been a much better course of action.
So you're not in support of dialogue then?
Of course I am.
You are. And Naseem Siddiqui Sahab, are you for dialogue?
Definitely, but Farooq, you have been to the National Assembly press gallery. I have been there. You have seen
I've covered
you
National
covered
Assembly
a lot.
for over 2 decades.
Have you seen the atmosphere of the assembly? They should do their work because the people of Pakistan, they have sent their MNAs and MPs to the assembly for the legislation, and
you are going to ask the honorable lawmakers to actually hold a dialogue by shaming them?
But they should hold the dialogue.
I mean,
because
that doesn't work.
Because you see that even after the Second World War, they sit on a table for the dialogues. So dialogue is a compulsory
Who was
thing.
sitting after Second World War?
Whole of the Europe, they sat on a table and they decided.
But you know about Nuremberg trials as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. that was there as well. So I think dialogue is the best thing because we want that Pakistan should flourish and each and
talk
every
about
party.
what? Talk about what?
Like electoral legislation. For if everybody is saying that the elections are rigged, they should sit down and make some legislation that
right. You are for dialogue. You are also for dialogue. Right. On that positive note, when everybody in my panel actually agrees that there should be dialogue, but nobody has been very clear on where to hold that dialogue or to actually decide what to debate. Let us hope in coming days we see more flexibility from both sides. At this moment, it seems that the opposition is caught somewhere between denial and a desire to reach out. Usually, that kind of pressure breaks or fractures parties as well. Let us hope that doesn't happen and we see some kind of dialogue. I'm told that we have to conclude the program here. Let me thank Barrister Umar Malik, Naseem Siddiqui Saab, Abdul Samad Yaqoob Saab, Rana Ehsan Afzal. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Viewers, you have listened to the discussion. I don't think that this discussion is going to go away very soon. So we will keep on discussing the electoral reforms, the Senate election reforms as well, and the prospects of dialogue. This was today's program. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.
High in the western Himalayas, cradled in the Karakoram mountains of northern Pakistan, lies a plateau known as the Land of Giants. The Deosai Plateau in Gilgit-Baltistan is the second highest plateau in the world. At an elevation of over 4,000 meters, this icy wilderness is covered in a blanket of snow for 8 months of the year. Its lakes and streams frozen, the land inaccessible. But even at this altitude, Deosai's vast 3,000 square kilometers are not barren. For 4 months of the year, as the strong mountain sunlight warms the earth, the rolling plains come to life. The summer meadows of this Himalayan ecoregion are strewn with swathes of wild flowers. Over 340 species of plants are spread across these plains and hills. and the bird song of more than 200 types of birds fills the air.